Good morning, Year 4, Miss Markwell again. I hope you had a lovely weekend, enjoyed the sunshine, and just did lots of lovely, exciting things. We have finished our money topic, and I hope you all did really well in that, didn't find it too difficult, and now are able to manage money a little bit better. Today, we're going to start our new topic, which is time. And we use time every day in school. You use it at the weekends. You use time every single day. So I'm hoping that you'll not find it too difficult and it will be enjoyable and everything will hopefully be okay. So, today we're going to look at, do I know how many minutes are in an hour and seconds in a minute? So we're looking at how many minutes are in an hour and how many seconds are in a minute. You might already know this and some of you might not. So, first of all, I want you to think what activities that you do might last an hour, a minute and a second. I know I can think when I cook, I maybe cook and that lasts an hour. Maybe a minute, it might be tying your shoelaces might take a minute, and a second is having a drink of water, maybe. I don't know, but you might have some other activities that last those different times. Okay, so this is the first part of our key question, our learning question. How many minutes are in 1 hour? Some of you might know already, and some of you might not. So let's have a look at this clock. Okay, we know that 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 are all the hours. Okay, so the big numbers are the hours, and the little lines in between are the minutes. Okay, so the little lines in between are the minutes. Okay. So how could you work out how many minutes are in 1 hour? You could count every single little tiny line, but that would take a long time. So I'm going to give you a trick to help you work out how many minutes are in 1 hour a little bit faster. You know that from 12 to 1, there are 5 minutes, okay? 12 to 1 is 5 minutes, and we can check this by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 minutes. So from 12 to 1, there is 5 minutes. From 1 to 2, 5 minutes, and so on around the clock. So we can count up in fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So we have gone the whole way around the clock in minutes, and when we get to 12, we have counted 60 minutes. So in 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. Okay, if you know there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, how many minutes might there be in 2 hours? So that would mean you would have to go around the clock once, 1 hour, and again 2. In 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. How many are in 2 hours? We can do an either addition sum, we could do a multiplication calculation. What we have to do is 60 multiplied by 2, and we know 60 multiplied by 2 is 120. So in 2 hours, there is 120 minutes. So how many minutes are in 1 hour? 60 minutes. Okay, so here we have a clock, and we're going to look at what you might say whenever the minute hand as it is at different points of the clock. And you might know this already. So we have 2 hands on a clock. Well, we've got 3 really. But we're going to look at the 2 black ones for the moment. Which one is the minute hand and which one is the hour hand? Okay, so the small one, if you want to call it that, this little one is the hour hand. Okay, and the big one, the longer one, is the minute hand. So we're going to look at this minute hand. And we're not really going to use the clock. We're just looking at these arrows here. So let's look at this arrow. This arrow is pointing at 12. So when the minute hand, the longer hand of the clock, is at 12, what do we call that? We call that o'clock. So if the minute hand is at 12 and the little hand, the hour hand, is at 3, it would be 3 o'clock. Okay, so 12 equals o'clock. If the minute hand is at 3, what do we call that? We call that quarter past. So if the large hand, the minute hand, is at 3 and the little hand, the hour hand, is at 3, it would be quarter past 3. Okay, so 12 o'clock, 3 quarter past. What about when it's at 6? We're halfway around the clock, so we've done half of the hour. What does the 6 mean? When the minute hand is at 6, it means half past. So if the minute hand, the longer hand, is at 6 and the small hand is at 3, the hour hand is at 3, it would be half past 3. Okay, so we have o'clock, quarter past, half past. What might this one be? When the minute hand is pointing at the 9, what do you think it might be? Quarter to. This one is quarter past and this one is quarter to. So those are the main points of the clock: o'clock, quarter past, half past, and quarter to. So I want you to try and remember those. So before we move on to the next bit, how many minutes are in 1 hour? That's right, 60. And 12 equals o'clock, 3 equals quarter past, 6, half, 9, quarter to. Okay, so we've done how many minutes are there in 1 hour. Now we're going to think about how many seconds are there in 1 minute. So you might know this, so have a think. How many seconds are there in 1 minute? What could we use to check this? What could we use to check this? You could use, if you have maybe a phone or someone's phone or a stopwatch, you could use a stopwatch to check this. And I've got my stopwatch with me and I'm going to press start. So if you have one close by, I want you to do this as well. And we're going to see how many seconds there are until we reach 1 minute. So I'm going to press start now. Okay, so it goes super fast, so you need to be watching extra carefully. In 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. Okay, so in 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. Okay, so you can use a stopwatch to check, so you can try that out if you want. But I want you to remember, in 60 seconds, in 1 minute, sorry, there are 60. Okay, if there are 60 seconds in 1 minute, how many seconds might be in 2 minutes? There would be 120 seconds. Okay, so in 1 hour, there are 60 minutes, and in 1 minute, there are 60 seconds. Okay, so that is your basis. If you know how many minutes there are in 1 hour and how many seconds there are in 1 minute, you should be able to work out anything like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And you can do this by either using an addition sum or a multiplication. Okay, so you might want to get a scrap piece of paper and do some of these, or do them in your head. So how many minutes are in 4 hours? 4 hours. So you know that in 1 minute, in 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. So how many minutes will be in 4 hours? What calculation might you do? You could do 60 times by 4, and that equals 240. To work that out, you could do a long multiplication, or we know when we have a 0, we can take away the 0, do 6 multiplied by 4, but you must remember to add the 0 back in at the end. So how many minutes are in 4 hours? 240. Okay. How many minutes are in 7 hours? Okay, so in 1 hour, there are 60 minutes. How many minutes are in 7 hours? What are we going to do to work this out? We're going to do 60 multiplied by 7. How many minutes are in 7 hours? 420. Okay, so I hope that is kind of, you're sort of getting the idea of how to do this. As long as you know how many minutes are in 1 hour, you can do a multiplication sum to work out how many minutes are in any other hour. Now I'm going to give you one more of this, and it's going to be a little bit trickier. So how many minutes are in 1.5? So 1.5 hours. So that would be 1.5 hours. Okay, I want you to think really, really carefully. In 1 hour, you know there is 60 minutes. So if you know in 1 hour there's 60 minutes, how many minutes might be in half an hour? That's right, 30. So in half an hour, there would be 30 minutes, okay? Because that is half of the full hour, and in 1 full hour, there is 60 minutes, so we need to half the 60 to give us 30. So now you know that in half an hour, there is 30 minutes. How many minutes will be in 1.5 hours? And that's right, it is 90, because we have our 60, and to the 60, we add 30. 60 add 30 equals 90. So in 1.5 hours, there is 90 minutes. Okay, now we have done our hours. We're going to try our seconds. So I want you to remind yourself, how many seconds are in a minute? 60. So you know that in one minute, there is 60 seconds. How many seconds are in 5 minutes? How many seconds are in 5 minutes? We're going to do a simple multiplication, which is 5 multiplied by 60, and that equals 300. So in 5 minutes, there are 300 seconds. Okay, one more. How many seconds are in 9 minutes? How many seconds are in 9 minutes? What are we going to do? We're going to do 9 multiplied by 60, and that gives us 540. So how many seconds are in 9 minutes? 540 seconds. Okay, so the main thing I want you to remember from this is in 1 hour there is 60 minutes, and in 1 minute there are 60 seconds. So that is the main thing that you have to remember from this lesson. You're now going to go onto Teams or the school website and get your sheet. Questions 1 and 2 are really focusing on knowing that in 1 hour there are 60 minutes and in 1 minute there are 60 seconds. And it's doing questions like this where you might need to use a multiplication. And then the rest of the questions are more reasoning, more solving word problems. So they're a little bit trickier. So if the only questions you can do are questions 1 and 2, that's okay, because that is the main point of this lesson today. And then tomorrow we will move on to something different on time. So I hope everyone gets on okay in their worksheet, in their sheet, and in their mastery if you would like to do mastery. If you have any questions, write me a message on Teams. Keep being amazing, have a lovely day, and I will probably talk to you tomorrow. Bye!